Drama, secrets, and scandal. VH1 could never have scripted anything this messy. Kirk Frost, the man who's never too far from the spotlight or the controversy, has found himself in the middle of the wildest baby mama drama Atlanta has ever seen. Just when fans thought the chaos had cooled off after years of relationship storms with Rashida, a fresh explosion has sent social media into a frenzy, and this time, it's not just one woman fighting for Kirk's heart, it's two, and they both come with babies, receipts, and demands. Sources close to the Frost family say Kirk has been juggling two secret relationships behind Rashida's back, both of which turned out to be way more complicated than even he anticipated. And now, with two women claiming to be the mothers of Kirk's children, emotions have hit a boiling point. Fans are shocked. The Frost family is in shambles. And Rashida, she's done playing nice. One of these women is said to be a long-time friend Kirk has known since his music manager days, quiet, loyal, and out of the spotlight until now. The other, a fiery newcomer who has no intention of playing second fiddle to anyone, and she's threatening to expose everything. From text messages to DNA tests to alleged hush money offers, this story has more twists than a love and hip-hop reunion. Special, the burning question now is, which woman will Kirk choose? Will he stand by Rashida and try to repair the wreckage of their already fragile marriage? Or will he chase after one of the women carrying his alleged new child, maybe even both? And what happens when all three women finally come face to face? Strap in, because this is not just a story about paternity, it's about loyalty, betrayal, family, and the explosive choices that could tear Kirk's world apart for good. In today's video, we're diving into every detail, every confrontation, and every shocking moment as we unravel the chaos behind Kirk Frost's baby mama drama. Which woman will he choose? You won't believe how deep this scandal goes. And the ending, nobody saw it coming. It all started with a phone call, one Kirk never expected, and one that would flip his world upside down yet again. Late one humid Atlanta evening, just as the buzz of the city dimmed beneath the streetlights, Kirk sat alone in his office, scrolling through his schedule, thinking the storm with Rashida had finally passed. But when his phone lit up with an unfamiliar number and he reluctantly answered, the voice on the other end changed everything. "We need to talk," the woman said, her tone low, deliberate, and unmistakably serious. "It's about your son." Kirk froze. "My what?" he replied, but the woman had already hung up. That single phrase echoed through his head. Not daughter. Not baby. Son. And just like that, Kirk Frost's newest chapter of chaos had begun, one that would drag in past mistakes, ignite present betrayals, and threaten to obliterate any future he had left with Rashida. Within hours, Kirk found himself pacing the floor, heart pounding, mind racing through names, faces, and memories he thought were long buried. The woman who called, Tamara, was someone he hadn't spoken to in over a year, a quiet flame from his off-again season with Rashida. Tamara had always been low-key, no social media drama, no thirst traps, no jealousy-driven tantrums. Just vibes, or so Kirk thought. When he finally met her the next day at a small cafe in East Point, he expected drama, but nothing prepared him for what she dropped on the table. A photo, a birth certificate, and then the kicker, a toddler boy who looked so eerily like Kirk that even he couldn't deny the resemblance. "His name is KJ, Tamara whispered. "Kirk Jr., and he's yours." The walls of Kirk's carefully constructed reality began to crumble. "Why now?" he asked, voice shaking. Tamara didn't blink. "Because I gave you time. I gave you space. But you've got a whole child out here who deserves more than a secret." As Kirk sat there, stunned into silence, a second message lit up his phone. And that's when the real mess began. The message read, "You need to call me. It's about the baby. Don't ignore this." But this time, the sender wasn't Tamara, it was another woman. Her name, Crystal. Younger, louder, bolder, and absolutely unafraid to stir the pot. Crystal had met Kirk at a promotional event in Miami 2 years ago. What began as a wild, tequila-fueled fling quickly turned into months of low-key meetups, hotel nights, and late-night texts. Kirk had always kept her at arm's length emotionally, but physically, the line had blurred too many times. Now she was claiming he was the father of her baby girl, and she had proof to back it up. "I'm not trying to ruin your little Rashida fantasy," her voice snapped over the phone when Kirk reluctantly called back. "I just want you to step up. DNA or not, you know what we had wasn't a one-night stand? That was the moment." Kirk realized he wasn't just facing one bombshell, he was staring down two. Two women, two children, two truths, and only one of him. But while Kirk was reeling, Rashida was already getting suspicious. She had noticed the shift in his behavior, how his phone never left his hand, how he stepped outside to take calls. More often, how his mood darkened whenever he looked at his notifications. And when she overheard him whispering Tamara's name on a late-night call, that was it. "You said you cut her off." "What the hell is going on?" she demanded. Kirk tried to dodge. "It's nothing. She just needed to talk." But Rashida wasn't buying it. "Talk? About what? And why are you sweating like you just saw a ghost?" The tension in the house snapped like a rubber band stretched too tight. Kirk, cornered, confessed partially. He admitted that Tamara claimed to have a child, but he left Crystal's name out, at least for now. Rashida's face said it all: betrayal, heartbreak, and exhaustion. "You know how hard I fought for us, how many times I forgave you," she said quietly, tears brimming in her eyes. "And now this, another kid." Kirk tried to reach out, but she backed away. "You don't get to touch me, not when I'm finding out again that you've been living a double life." That night, Rashida packed a small bag and left for her mom's. The house was silent. Kirk stood in the doorway, phone in hand, staring at the two messages that had set off this emotional explosion. And just as he thought it couldn't get worse, another ping. This time, it was Crystal again, but she wasn't texting. She had posted everything on her Instagram story: screenshots of messages, photos of her baby, even a blurry image of Kirk sleeping beside her in a hotel room. Within hours, the gossip blogs picked it up. Kirk Frost caught slipping again. Another baby on the way. The headlines were brutal. Fans were ruthless. And Rashida, she was humiliated. "You didn't just cheat," she said the next morning over the phone, voice cold as ice. "You embarrassed me. You let the whole world clown me again." The family was left divided. Kirk's older kids were furious. "You think this is just about you and your drama?" His daughter Kelsey shouted during a heated family meeting. "You're dragging us into it too. Do you know how many people have been DMing and Jimmy asking if I have a new brother or sister?" Meanwhile, his mother was silent, too stunned to speak. Even Rashida's friends began urging her to walk away for good. "How many times does he have to humiliate you before you say enough?" One friend asked her during brunch. Rashida stayed quiet but nodded slowly. Her silence was louder than any scream. And yet, amidst all this chaos, the women were far from finished. Tamara requested a sit-down with Rashida to clear the air. And surprisingly, Rashida agreed. "If I'm going to be stuck in your mess, I need to hear the truth from your mouth," she told Kirk before heading to the meeting. The confrontation was tense. Tamara, calm and soft-spoken, laid everything out. The timeline, the pregnancy, the birth, the silence. "I kept quiet because I thought it was the right thing. But I'm done pretending like my son doesn't matter," she said. Rashida, her voice shaking, replied, "Do you love him?" Tamara hesitated. "I did. Not now, but I did." That answer hurt more than any accusation. And just when Rashida thought she'd heard it all, Crystal showed up, and invited, unapologetic, dressed to kill. "Oh, we're having a tea party without me," she said with a smirk, sliding into the booth beside them. "I figured you'd want to hear my side." To Tamara blared. Rashida blinked in disbelief. Kirk, who had rushed to the scene after getting a warning call from the cafe owner, walked in right as the verbal war exploded between the women. Accusations flew, voices rose, and in the center of it all, Kirk just stood there speechless, ashamed, and caught again. But the most explosive revelation was still to come, and it would change everything. As the cafe turned into a battleground of emotions, all eyes locked on Kirk. He stood there, like a man cornered by every bad decision he'd ever made. Tamara was visibly trembling, her voice cracking as she leaned across the table toward Crystal. "You don't get to come in here and hijack this moment," she snapped. "This was between me and Rashida, but Crystal was having none of it, sweetheart. I'm the one carrying his daughter. If anything, you're the side note." That's when Rashida had enough. She slammed her hand on the table, her voice slicing through the noise like a blade. "You're both acting like this is a competition, like I'm supposed to sit here and pick sides. But you want to know what's real? This man dragged us all through the same dirt. So if you want to be mad at someone, be mad at him." Kirk looked like he'd been gut punched. "Rashida, I never meant for it to go this far," he muttered. But Crystal rolled her eyes. "You never mean anything. But somehow babies keep popping up like magic. You knew exactly what you were doing." Then, in a twist nobody saw coming, Crystal pulled out her phone, opened a video, and held it up for all to see. It was a clip of Kirk drunk, shirtless, talking to the camera. "I don't even know how many kids I got anymore," he slurred. "In the video, they say it's mine. I just sign the check and move on." Gasps echoed across the cafe. Even Tamara looked stunned. Kirk tried to grab the phone, but it was too late. The damage was done. The video went viral within hours. "Kirk Frost admits to ignoring paternity responsibility," screamed the headlines. Social media lit up like wildfire, memes, hashtags, reaction videos. Everyone from former Love and Hip Hop castmates to petty bloggers had something to say. The court of public opinion had spoken and Kirk was guilty. But behind the digital chaos, the real emotional storm brewed in Rashida's heart. At home, she sat in their now empty bedroom, watching the video over and over. Every word was a knife, every pause a wound. "I defended you," she whispered into the silence, "through Jasmine, through the lies, through everything, and this is what I get." But Kirk wasn't giving up, not yet. Desperate to fix the shattered pizzas, he arranged a meeting with Rashida's mother, Ms. Charlene. If there was one person who might get through to Rashida, it was her mama. But even that backfired. "You have disrespected my daughter for years," Charlene hissed. "You think buying her a new car or a fancy dinner makes up for humiliating her on national TV again and again? You better fix this mess or leave her alone for good." Kirk, for once, had no comeback. And yet, despite the storm, both Tamara and Crystal still wanted a decision. They weren't just fighting each other, they were fighting for Kirk's attention, his loyalty, and whatever crumbs of affection he had left. Tamara sent him a message later that night. "I don't want drama. I just want stability for my son. If you're going to be in his life, then be in it, but don't half-ass." U.S. Crystal, on the other hand, was more direct. She showed up at his doorstep the next morning, holding her baby girl. "This is who matters now," she said, placing the infant in his arms. "So choose her or the chaos." Kirk stared down at the baby, whose big brown eyes mirrored his own. A strange mix of shame, regret, and love rushed over him. For a moment, he imagined what life would look like if he just started over with Crystal, the baby, a fresh chapter away from all the history with Rashida. But that thought was fleeting, because no matter how complicated things had gotten, his heart had never stopped being tethered to Rashida. And that's when he made the first real decision of this entire ordeal. He picked up the phone and called Rashida. "I need to see you," he said. She hesitated, then agreed. They met at the park where they had their first date years ago. Kirk brought no cameras, no flowers, just the truth. "I messed up," he began. "Again, and maybe you won't believe anything I say right now. But I'm not going to run. Not from you, not from the kids. Not from this mess. I want to make it right even if it takes the rest of my life." Rashida was silent for a long time. Then she looked at him, tired but honest. "Do you even know what making it right looks like anymore, Kirk? Because every time I think we're healing, you throw another fire into the mix. And I'm the one left with the burns." Just then, his phone rang. Again, this time, it was a lawyer. Tamara had filed for child support. Crystal was about to do the same. The real-world consequences of Kirk's drama had arrived, and there was no escaping them now. But what happened next shocked everyone involved. Tamara and Crystal, bitter rivals just days before, suddenly joined forces. The two women sat down together without Kirk and decided to coordinate their legal efforts. "If we can't get the truth from him," Crystal said, "then we'll get it through the courts." Tamara agreed. "It's not about him anymore. It's about these kids." News of their alliance made it back to Kirk quickly, and the impact was immediate. His accounts were frozen for review. A judge ordered paternity tests. Rashida, meanwhile, received a call from VH1. Producers wanted her and Kirk to address the drama in a televised sit-down special. "America wants to hear from you too," they said. "You're still the heart of this story." Kirk knew that sitting in front of the cameras could destroy him even more, possibly redeem him. But what he didn't know was that Rashida had already made her decision, and she was about to drop her own bombshell on live TV. The day of the VH1 sit-down arrived like a storm no one was ready for. The studio lights were bright, the air electric with anticipation. Camera crews buzzed around, prepping angles, testing audio, whispering nervously among themselves. Social media was already ablaze. Hashtag Kirk Frost's confession was trending nationwide. Fans were glued to their phones, waiting to see if Kirk would finally take responsibility, or if Rashida would walk out on him in front of millions. The stakes had never been higher. Kirk arrived in a sleek black suit, eyes weary, face lined with the weight of scandal. Rashida showed up separately alone, dressed in a fierce crimson jumpsuit that screamed confidence and defiance. She didn't look like a woman coming to beg. She looked like a woman coming to end things. The taping began. The host, a seasoned media vet, dove straight into the chaos. "Let's not dance around it." Kirk: "2 women, 2 kids, 1 marriage barely hanging on. What do you have to say?" Kirk exhaled deeply. "I messed up," he began. "I've been reckless, selfish. I took Rashida's loyalty for granted. I didn't handle things the way a man should, and now I'm trying to take responsibility, even if it's too late." The room fell silent. The cameras zoomed in on Rashida's face, stone cold. "Too late," she said, her voice dangerously. "Come, Kirk, it's been too late. We're just now writing the obituary." Gasps filled the studio. Even the host blinked, caught off guard. "So what does that mean?" he asked. Rashida didn't flinch. "It means I'm done being the woman who forgives you publicly while breaking privately. I'm done raising your kids while you're out making new ones. I'm done covering your tracks while you create more mess. I'm not just walking away, Kirk, I'm freeing myself." Kirk's jaw clenched. He looked like he wanted to protest, to plead, to fix it, but all the words caught in his throat. "So that's it," he said softly. "You're really walking away." Rashida leaned in. "I'm not walking away. I'm walking forward with or without you." But that wasn't even the biggest shock of the episode. Because just when everyone thought the drama had peaked, Rashida dropped a bombshell. "You want to talk about secrets, Kirk? Let's talk." The host leaned in. "What do you mean?" Rashida pulled a folded document from her clutch. "I got a paternity test done, not for Tamara's baby. Not for Crystal's, for the one you thought was yours." Kirk's eyes widened. "What are you saying?" he whispered. She handed the paper to the host, who read it out loud. "Paternity test results show a 0.00% probability that Kirk Frost is the biological father." Kirk's face went white. "No, that's not possible. That's not possible." Rashida nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. "You believed it was your child because Crystal told you it was. You believed the noise instead of checking the facts. And while you were spiraling, breaking us apart, embarrassing me, she played you. Just like you played me." Crystal, watching from the backstage monitor, stormed onto the set. "You're lying," she shouted. "That test is fake." You had that made up to save face, but the host shut it down quickly. "We confirmed this with legal counsel. The test was court-ordered. It's legitimate." The audience erupted. Kirk looked from Rashida to Crystal to the cameras, completely undone. "So you mean to tell me I blew up my marriage for a lie?" he muttered. Rashida nodded slowly. "Yes, you did." Crystal started yelling, trying to defend herself, but security gently escorted her off the set. The damage had been done. Kirk looked back at Rashida, crumbling. "Does this change anything?" he asked. "Now that you know she lead us, that mean we still have a chance?" Rashida didn't blink. "No, it means I finally have peace. That's what this gave me, truth, and the freedom to walk away knowing I was never the one who ruined us. You were." The episode went viral the moment it aired. Fans were stunned, emotional, and overwhelmingly supportive of Rashida. "She carried herself with class and power," one fan tweeted. "She finally chose herself." Even former Love and hip-hop castmates chimed in with praise. But for Kirk, the fallout was brutal. His music business took a hit. Sponsorships pulled out. Even his older kids refused to speak to him for weeks. Tamara, quietly watching from the sidelines, released a statement confirming her child was real, her story was true, and she wanted nothing more to do with Kirk personally. He can co-parent. "But that's it," she told a local blogger. "I'm not here for reality show games. I'm here for my son." Meanwhile, Rashida began to thrive. She launched a new fashion line titled Rebirth, inspired by her journey from pain to power. Her first campaign slogan, "Built from Betrayal." Styled in strength, sales skyrocketed. She booked interviews. She shared her story with poise and raw honesty. She didn't bash Kirk, she just told the truth. And that truth resonated with millions of women around the world. But even as she rose, Kirk couldn't help but sit in the ashes of what he had burned down with his own hands. Every night, he replayed that sit down in his mind. Her words haunted him. "I'm not walking away. I'm walking forward." And just when he thought the world had finished judging him, another twist emerged. This one from Tamara. In an exclusive interview, she revealed that she wasn't entirely honest either. While Kirk was indeed the father of her son, she had waited to go public with it, not because she was giving him space, but because she was waiting for a reality show deal. "I didn't want to be just another baby mama on a blog," she admitted. "I wanted control over my story, so yeah, I waited. But that child is his, and I'll protect him with everything I've got." The interview reignited debates online. Was Tamara strategic or selfish? Was Crystal a liar or a victim of her own ambition? And where did that leave Kirk now? One thing was clear. The drama wasn't over, not by a long shot. In the days that followed, Atlanta buzzed like a shaken beehive. Kirk Frost had become the epicenter of a reality TV-level earthquake, and everyone, friends, family, fans, even former enemies, had something to say. Rumors swirled that VH1 producers were developing a spin-off centered solely on the aftermath of his baby mama disaster. TMZ paparazzi staked out Rashida's storefront, hoping for a comment. Shade Room threads piled up with thousands of reactions, debates, and conspiracy theories. And while the internet speculated, Kirk's personal life continued to unravel publicly. And painfully, Kirk tried to salvage what little remained. With Crystal outed for lying about the paternity of her baby girl, and Tamara now distancing herself emotionally, Kirk believed he could maybe find a way back into Rashida's heart. But what he failed to understand was that Rashida wasn't just hurt, she was done. For the first time in years, she wasn't just moving through Kirk's drama. She was moving beyond it. "I don't need closure from him," she told her friend Bambi during a heart-to-heart brunch scene filmed for Love and Hip Hop's upcoming season. "I already gave myself that, but Kirk, he hadn't accepted the end." He showed up at Rashida's store one afternoon and announced, "Cameras caught." The moment he entered, bouquet of roses in hand, a nervous half-smile stretched across his face. "I know I don't deserve to ask for anything," he began. "But can we talk?" Rashida, standing at the register, didn't even blink. "Talk about what? Another lie? Another apology?" Kirk lowered his voice. "I just want to be real. Everything fell apart. I did that. I accept it. But I can't stand the idea of losing the only woman who ever really rode for me." Rashida crossed her arms, then pointed toward the door. "You should have thought about that before. Letting half of Atlanta ride for you, too." The moment went viral. Again, fans flooded Rashida's comments with praise. "You're a queen for walking away. Finally, Rashida chose herself." Meanwhile, Kirk's reputation spiraled. Club appearances got canceled. Brand deals vanished. Even his longtime business partner began pulling back. "I can't keep investing in someone who stays trending for the wrong reasons," he said during a leaked call. But amid the wreckage, one figure emerged as a surprising source of strength. Kirk's oldest daughter, Kelsey. Kelsey had kept her distance for weeks, upset and disappointed. But now she stepped in not to defend her father, but to demand he man up. "Look, you embarrassed all of us," she told him during an emotional sit-down at a family barbecue. "But you still have kids watching you, real ones. You need to fix your damn life for them. Not for some VH1 check, not for mom, not even. For Rashida, for you." Kirk nodded slowly, swallowing the lump in his throat. For once, he had nothing to argue with. "You're right," he whispered. "You're right." With nowhere else to turn, Kirk finally did what he had avoided. For years he got therapy, not for the cameras, not for the storyline, for himself. He sat down with a local counselor and over the course of multiple sessions began to unpack his patterns, the abandonment issues from his youth, the addiction to validation, the fear of being irrelevant. "I kept trying to prove I was still wanted," he admitted, "but I destroyed everything I actually needed in the process." It wasn't a glamorous moment. There were no dramatic camera angles, no applause. Just a man finally reckoning with his own brokenness. Meanwhile, Rashida continued to rise. Her Rebirth brand launched a pop-up tour, taking her fashion line on the road. Interviews poured in. She became a voice for women navigating betrayal and rebirth. "You can love someone deeply," she said during one emotional podcast, "and still choose yourself. That's not weakness, that's power." Her vulnerability struck a chord with fans, especially women who had been in her shoes, loving, forgiving, rebuilding only to be shattered again. Rashida's story was no longer just hers, it was theirs. And yet, just when the dust seemed to settle, a new wrinkle appeared. Tamara called Kirk one evening not to argue, not to beg, but to warn him. "You need to prepare yourself," she said. VH1 producers are offering Crystal a solo special. "She's going to spin this whole thing her way." Kirk groaned. "I'm over it. Let her lie." The truth already came out, but Tamara wasn't done. "She's not just spinning it. She's saying you knew the baby wasn't yours, that you played along for attention." Kirk sat back, stunned. Why would I ever do that? Tamara's voice was cold. "Because in her mind, everyone's chasing clout, even you." The Crystal special aired the following week. It was messy, overproduced, and full of contradictions. She cried on camera, claiming she felt used and discarded, and insisted Kirk had promised her more than just a hookup. But the audience wasn't buying it. Fact-checkers quickly pointed out inconsistencies. The footage of the paternity test resurfaced. Even old text messages contradicted her story. In the end, her special flopped and her credibility shattered once and for all. But by then, Kirk wasn't even watching. He was busy doing something far more important, showing up to his son KJ's kindergarten orientation. It was the first time he and Tamara had appeared in public together without drama. No paparazzi, no producers, just two parents trying to do right by their child. And for Kirk, it was a moment of clarity. This is what matters, he whispered to himself, watching KJ color at a table. Not followers, not fame, this. And slowly, quietly, he began to rebuild not just his image, but his integrity. Still, fans wonder, is this the real Kirk Frost? Has he truly changed, or is this just the combi for another storm? Because in the world of reality TV, the final chapter is never really final. Weeks passed, and for once, Kirk Frost stayed out of the blogs. There were no late-night club sightings, no cryptic posts from mystery women, no new baby mama accusations, just silence. And in that silence, something unfamiliar began to take shape: reflection. Kirk, now removed from the VH1 spotlight and finally stripped of the distractions that once fueled his ego, began confronting the truth about who he had become and who he still had a chance to be. Therapy sessions continued. His visits with KJ became routine. And even though Rashida still refused to rekindle anything romantic, they started speaking again, this time strictly about co-parenting, finances, and business. But peace, as always, doesn't last long in Kirk Frost's orbit. While his world settled into a fragile new rhythm, a fresh wave of drama crashed ashore, and this time, it came from the unlikeliest source. Jasmine Washington, the original baby mama whose affair with Kirk nearly ended his marriage years ago, suddenly popped back up. Out of nowhere, she posted a cryptic TikTok set to the tune of Summer Walker's Playing Games with a caption that sent the internet into meltdown. Y'all thought it was over. LOL, hashtag stay tuned. The post racked up millions of views within hours. Commenters flooded her page. Was she pregnant again? Was there new dirt? Had Kirk gone back to her? The streets were talking, and so were the producers at VH1. It didn't take long before Jasmine confirmed what fans feared. She had been secretly filming her own tell-all docuseries, and the teaser trailer revealed something shocking. She had never stopped seeing Kirk, even during his most recent scandals. The trailer showed blurry footage of late-night rendezvous, hotel hallways, and what looked like Kirk's voice whispering off camera. Rashida was never the only one, Jasmine said in the preview. She was just the one with the camera. Time, Kirk, blindsided and furious, denied everything. That footage is old, he told his inner circle. She's manipulating the timeline. But it was too late. The damage was already done. Bloggers ran wild with speculation. Jasmine went on a press tour, and Rashida. She blocked Kirk's number completely. I told you, she texted him before cutting contact. One more betrayal, and I'm out, completely. You just made sure of that. This new wave of chaos shook even Kirk's most loyal defenders. Mama Charlene, usually blunt but fair, now refused to even mention his name. I'm done talking about him, she told Rashida on camera. He's not confused, he's consistent, and that consistency is painful. Meanwhile, Kelsey took to Instagram Live to speak her truth. I love my dad, but I can't keep pretending like this is okay. He needs to stop dragging women down with him. Especially women like my mom. And then came the final twist, the real final twist. In the midst of the Jasmine storm, Kirk received a certified letter from a legal firm representing yet another woman. This time, it was someone from his past life, way before Rashida, way before love and hip-hop, back when he was just hustling mixtapes and chasing radio spins. The letter claimed that Kirk had fathered a now teenage daughter, and the mother Tasha was seeking not only back child support, but a formal acknowledgement of paternity. At first, Kirk thought it was a scam, but when he saw the enclosed photo, his heart stopped. The girl looked exactly like him. That's when everything crashed down. Kirk sat alone in his house, lights off, phone buzzing nonstop, headlines spinning. Out of control. Every bridge had been burned. Every secret was catching up. The man who had once managed to finesse, spin, and charm his way out of any scandal was now facing the full weight of every lie, every betrayal, every ignored responsibility. He whispered into the dark, almost pleading with himself, how did I let it get this far? And yet, even in that low, VH1 producers couldn't resist. They offered him a solo redemption series, Kirk Frost, Reckoning. It would follow his attempts to reconnect with the teenage daughter he never knew, repair his relationships with his children, and confront the mountain of mistakes that had brought him here. Kirk hesitated. Was this just another chance to exploit his failures for a check, or could it finally be the platform to turn things around? He said yes. Filming began. The cameras followed him to Tasha's house for the first meeting with his alleged daughter. The moment was raw, uncomfortable, and completely unfiltered. The girl, named Ayana, didn't cry. She didn't hug him. She barely looked at him. I don't know what you want from me, she said flatly. You're not a father. You're just some man who disappeared. Kirk nodded, tears in his eyes. I just want a chance to know you. Even if you never forgive me, viewers were stunned. The same man who once joked about not knowing how many kids he had was now quietly unraveling on screen, stripped of excuses, forced to confront a legacy built on pain. The docuseries painted a more complicated picture, not just of Kirk the cheater or Kirk the manipulator, but of Kirk the broken man. The child who never had a stable father, the adult who never learned how to love responsibly. The public watched, many with empathy, others with skepticism, but all with fascination. Meanwhile, Rashida stood firm. She refused to film for the series, but she released a statement. This isn't my redemption story. This is his. I've already told mine and I'm living it every day. Her words were clear. She wasn't looking back. She was building forward, and fans respected her all the more for it. The final episode of Kirk Frost, Reckoning, aired with a quiet, powerful moment. Kirk sitting alone in a church pew, holding a photo of all his children, some he raised, some he failed, and one he just met. No dramatic music, no tears, just a broken man beginning to pick up the shards. But fans are still left wondering, will Kirk really change? Or will history repeat itself once again? Because with Kirk Frost, the drama may end on screen, but in real life, it always finds a way to begin again. And just like that, the saga of Kirk Frost spirals into yet another legendary chapter, one tangled with heartbreak, betrayal, and a glimmer, however faint, of redemption. From secret babies to fake paternity claims, explosive cafe confrontations to courtroom bombshells, Kirk's journey has been nothing short of a roller coaster, and we've all had front row seats. But now the question stands, is this finally the end of the chaos, or just the calm before the next storm? Rashida has moved on stronger than ever, building a legacy beyond betrayal, turning her pain into power, and reminding women everywhere that they can walk through fire and still shine. Meanwhile, Kirk, humbled, exposed, and now publicly father to children he once denied, faces the biggest decision of his life. Grow up for real this time, or continue the cycle that's destroyed everything he once held dear. What will happen? With Tamara and her son, will Ayana, the long-lost daughter, ever open her heart to the man who missed her entire childhood? Can Kirk ever regain the respect of his own kids? And if VH1 does decide to reunite the whole tangled web of women, kids, and chaos in one explosive reunion, who will even show up? We want to hear from you. What do you think about this wild saga? Do you believe Kirk's apology tour is genuine or just another hustle for sympathy? Should Rashida ever consider taking him back? Or has she finally escaped for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this drama is far from over. Make sure to smash that like button if you are gasping through every twist. Subscribe so you don't miss the next scandal. And ring that notification bell because when it comes to Kirk Frost, the drama never sleeps. Until next time, keep your receipts closed and your baby mama closer.